Look, we always do things traditionally with respect, and that's what it is. But today we're trying something a little bit different. Obviously you care about ramen, but what about your holiday gifts? Might be cutting a little close if you're getting one still. Might I recommend my book, which is 50% off on Amazon, and the link's in the description. Thank you so much. You'll enjoy it, you'll love it. It's full of great, delicious recipes. Look at that. 50% off. Ramen is already one of my favorite foods and arguably one of the greatest, right? There's not many things out there like it. There's gotta be a way to diversify it. What if I take some of our most favorite foods, put them together and fuse it with ramen? No, it's not fusion. This is not just for science. I wanna create new flavors, something that's never existed before. Or maybe it has existed, but I wanna taste it. I wanna feel it. So with all that being said, let's make this, shall we? Listen, I read the comments, I see all your wild requests, I know you guys want more deep dive recipes. Prepare yourself for this one, because this is arguably one of our biggest applications of what I call technique blending. We got a miso birria ramen, Cajun gumbo tonkotsu, and butter chicken sukumen. My knees are trembling just thinking of the luscious concoctions that will come out of this. And for the record, we have many traditional ramens, so please understand that these untraditional ones are experimental. That's for the comment section. Now, listen up. Before we even start, every single one of these 3 recipes will have 4 crucial ingredients. Yes, you will need straight ramen noodles. Most Asian stores have them, but you can also get the ones that I used in the link in the description. So essentially, you'll just boil those following the package directions after your broth is done, and you'll need about ½ a pound per recipe. Then you need 4 soft-boiled eggs. Look, calm down. You literally just boil the eggs for 6 minutes, ice bath them, and well, that's it. Perfect soft-boiled eggs every time. And for the tare, each bowl will simply receive a splash of shiradashi and soy sauce. That's it. Now, it's time. First, birria miso ramen. To make the broth, after all, ramen is only as good as its broth. First, you need 1 pound or 450 grams of boneless chuck roast, 3 large short ribs with their bone, and 1 pound or 450 grams of oxtail. Heat a large 7 to 8 quart pot over medium-high with just enough oil to coat the bottom evenly. Pat your meat dry with a paper towel, season generously with salt and pepper, then in batches, sear those bad boys for 2 to 3 minutes per side, so each little lovely is browned beautifully from edge to edge. Color is flavor. Now once those all are seared, you'll make a quick sachet using a piece of cheesecloth, which will be filled with 1 cinnamon stick, 4 bay leaves, 1 tablespoon or 12 grams of black peppercorns, 1 tablespoon or 6 grams of coriander seeds, and ½ a cup or 11 grams of bonito flakes. Wrap that up nice and tie it tightly with kitchen twine like so, and make sure it is closed. Now back to your pot. Set to medium heat, add additional oil to coat the bottom, and then add in 2 tablespoons or 40 grams of tomato paste. Cook that down for about a minute, then add 4 green onions, cut into 1 to 2 inch segments, and 6 cloves of whole garlic, and a 1 inch knob of ginger that's been thinly sliced. Add in your beef plus your sachet, then add 3 quarts or 2.8 liters of beef stock. Bring that up to a boil over medium-high, then immediately reduce that to a simmer. From there, add in a mixture of 5 guajillo chilies, 5 ancho chilies, 2 chilies to arbol, then optionally cover with a lid or a cartouche and simmer for 3 hours. Beautiful things take time, all right? Just be patient. Now, once that's done, remove all of your beef carefully because it's tender. Place in a bowl, and while it's cooling, carefully remove your rehydrated chilies, add to a blender along with 2 cups or 480 milliliters of your broth and 3/4 of a cup or 181 grams of white miso. Then just blend on high until as smooth as possible. Stir that into your broth, season it to taste with salt, and the broth is done. Now for your beef, in that bowl, first off, let's take a moment to thank the editor for what they're about to do. Please set the mood. Beef this tender should just be against the law. It makes one do bad things. Now, shred your beef along with its own fat as finely as you can, season to taste with salt, and keep warm to the side. Now, to assemble, first a light splash of shiradashi, followed by a splash of soy sauce, ladle in a few ladlefuls of your broth, followed by a 1/4 of your cooked noodles, top with a light drizzle of toasted sesame oil, a generous handful of your shredded beef, sweet onion that's been thinly sliced and rinsed under water, just helps make them a little nicer, a soft-boiled egg half, fresh cilantro, a lime wedge or a cheek, up, something to really wind this up. Get a corn tortilla, dip it in the birria broth, set it in a hot pan, add some fresh torn Oaxaca cheese to one side, let it cook for about 15 to 20 seconds, fold it together, flip it, and cook until the cheese is melted. Then you simply insert your birria quesadilla right where you'd put some nori strips. But if you think that's wildin', wait till you see the butter chicken sukumen. Now, moving on. For the butter chicken sukumen, you're gonna start with an MSG garlic fat bomb. So, medium-sized bowl, 1 cup or 225 grams of softened salted butter, 1 teaspoon or 6 grams of MSG, 2 teaspoons or 6 grams of smoked paprika, and 2 cloves of garlic grated. Whisk together vigorously until thoroughly combined, roll up a sheet of plastic wrap, and tighten by rolling and pinching the sides against the countertop to form a doit log. Chill in the fridge, and now for the grilled chicken. In a medium-sized bowl, add 5 boneless and skinless chicken thighs. Please, not breasts. Just don't do that to me right now, okay? I don't deserve that. Have a cup or 110 grams of whole-fat yogurt, 1 inch knob of ginger grated, 1 teaspoon or 3 grams of turmeric powder, 1 teaspoon or 2 grams of garam masala, 2 teaspoons or 8 grams of Kashmiri chili powder, 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of fine sea salt, half a teaspoon or 1 gram of ground cumin. Mix it together by hand until evenly distributed and thoroughly coated. Now just let that sit while you prep everything else. For the sauce, cook the bottom of a large saucepan with 3 tablespoons or 42 grams of vegetable oil. Add in 1 yellow onion rough chopped chopped, 5 cloves of garlic thinly sliced, and 1 knob of ginger grated or sliced. Gonna get blended anyway. Season to taste with salt and saute for 5 minutes or until the vegetables start to soften nicely. Then add 2 teaspoons or 5 grams of garam masala, half a teaspoon or 1 gram of coriander powder, 2 teaspoons or 6 grams of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of Kashmiri chili powder, 1 tablespoon or 14 grams of granulated sugar. Now saute all of that till fragrant and toasty smelling. About 30 seconds. Then pour in a 14 ounce or 400 gram tin of crushed tomatoes. Follow that with a quarter cup or 60 milliliters of chicken broth and a quarter cup or 60 milliliters of shiradashi. Half a gram of fenugreek leaves, a third cup or 80 milliliters of water. Then just bring them to a simmer over medium heat. Reduce the heat to low and let that reduce for 5 to 8 minutes or until it begins to thicken. Pour into a blender and blend on high speed until as smooth as possible. Now add that back to the pan. Keep it warm. Then add 1 cup or 240 milliliters of heavy whipping cream. Mix together till homogeneous. Season to taste with salt and, a little extra shiradashi if necessary. And then just reduce that over medium-low heat for 5 minutes and keep warm. Chicken's simple. Either get a grill or in this case you can use a grill pan. That's totally fine. Grease up your grates. Set over medium-high heat. Add your chicken in. Sear your chicken, flipping often until the chicken is cooked through to an internal temperature of 165, around 5 to 8 minutes total. And you have some nice char marks. Now, how in the world do you serve this sacrilegious sukumen? Well, first, ladle your broth into a ramekin or bowl. Make sure it's hot, because we're going to top it with a fresh sliced coin of your MSG butter. Then beautifully let it melt in there. And separately on a plate, you can arrange your cooked straight ramen noodles, your grilled chicken, which has been sliced, a soft boiled egg or two, and a nice handful of fresh cilantro. Now moving on to our last and arguably my favorite, gumbo tonkotsu. Now that's a set of words right there, brother. This one's actually relatively simple with a technique that many restaurants use to get that creamy broth. First, you need a large stock pot. Add in 2 pounds or 900 grams of pork neck bones and 2.5 pounds or 1.1 kilo of pork hocks. That's hocks, okay? Get your mind out of the gutter. Cover that with cold water and set it on the stove over medium-high and bring that cauldron of pork to a boil. Skim any scum off that rises to the top. Once that comes to a boil, immediately cut off the heat, strain, and rinse those bones generously with cold water. Now, here's the secret to tonkotsu style broth that doesn't take, 12 hours of non-stop boiling. First, you need a pressure cooker. Add in your bones, 1 14 ounce or 400 gram can of crushed tomatoes that have ideally been blended into a smooth as possible puree. 3 tablespoons or 30 grams of hot sauce, 3 tablespoons or 33 grams of Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons or 27 grams of your Cajun seasoning of choice, 2 tablespoons or 10 grams of smoked paprika, and 1 tablespoon or 8 grams of handashi. Then just add water up to the fill line in your pressure cooker and pressure cook that on high for 1.5 hours. Then add 1 pound or 450 grams of andouille sausage, 2 ribs of celery, rough chopped, 1 bunch of green onions cut into 1-inch segments, half a pound or 226 grams of pork fat back. Pop that lid back on in high pressure for another 1.5 hours. Now, while that's going, we're gonna make a Cajun style chili oil. First, fill a small sauce pot with 2 cups or 220 grams of vegetable oil. Then add 1 cinnamon stick, 5-star anise, 4 bay leaves, 2 to 4 cloves of garlic, 2.5 tablespoons or 10 grams of Sichuan peppercorns, 2 shallots quartered, 2 green onions cut into 1-inch segments. Heat that up and hold it at 220 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes to infuse. Then in a separate bowl, add 1 cup or 122 grams of Sichuan chili flakes. Then simply strain your hot oil into your chili flake and stir in half a teaspoon or 3 grams of MSG, 2.5 tablespoons or 32 grams of Cajun spice. Just make sure your Cajun spice has salt in it because that's going to season your chili oil. And 1 tablespoon or 14 grams of granulated sugar. Stir till thoroughly combined, let that cool completely, and you have a beautiful chili oil. Once your second boil of your tonkatsu gumbo is done, carefully transfer all the pork fat back into the blender. It's going to be really soft, so be gentle here. Along with 2 cups of broth, then strain the remainder of your broth into a stock pot. Now pop that blender on high and blend until it's creamy and emulsified as possible. Pour your emulsified broth into your pot of the rest of the broth. Bring it to a boil over medium-high, reduce the medium, and let that simmer aggressively for 5 minutes. Then finally add in half a pound or 225 grams of peeled and deveined shrimp. Cook for 5 more minutes and it's done. Now we just put her together. Again, bowl, little splash of shiradashi, little splash of soy sauce, ladle in your creamy, smoky broth as desired, followed by your cooked noodles. Optionally, you can sear a split sausage in half, for the look and the vibe. Followed by fresh sliced green onion, a soft boiled egg, your chili oil drizzled generously, some nice strips of nori, which are a little bit more traditional. And of course, be sure to grab some of your freshly cooked shrimp and look at this baby. Enough talk, let's taste test. This feels sacrilegious and yet feels beautiful at the same time. I don't know how to feel, what to say, so I'm gonna eat. The funny thing is, it smells like gumbo. Incredible gumbo, tonkotsu ramen, put them together, and this is their child. Moving on, birria ramen. This is pretty much a birria consomme with Japanese ingredients and miso. Wow. Unbelievably delicious. I could eat this every day. It feels very much like a Mexican dish, but I don't have a problem with that, and it's got noodles in it, so, there's some balance there. We could have stopped there. Could have just done another regular old bowl of ramen. But I went for sukumen, also known as the dipping ramen. So I thought, well, what are we gonna get that's thicker than tonkotsu? Butter chicken, dunk, put the noodles in here. I'll add a little bit of green onion. Look, all of these are incredible. As a sukumen, this is like top tier. This is like ridiculous. Now for the voting round. And the winner goes to 3 new things that never existed before. Add them to your repertoire and change your life forever. But you wanna know what else will change your life forever? B-roll.